Here we have a new 2026 Lincoln Nautilus. Now this Nautilus comes in the Premier 2 trim level with all-wheel drive. Infinite black metallic is the paint, and then we have the black onyx soft touch interior. The powertrain consists of a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine that's made into an 8-speed automatic transmission. Now as we come around to the front end here, we get LED headlamps along with the LED daytime running lights. So all the lights are off now, but I love the front fascia here. It's just such a nice look on the grills of the Lincolns, the Navigators, the Aviators, as well as the Nautilus. It looks so good. It's nice, big, and bold, but it also just feels elegant. It doesn't feel like it's popping out like on these Yukons, some of these Escalades. These are gonna be 20-inch aluminum wheels. And we get passive keyless entry. We have the ambient lighting, power door lock controls, memory seat functions. We get a 14-speaker Revel sound system, power folding mirrors with blind spot monitors, and then we do have our electronic child lock rear window locks there. One-touch up and down windows on all 4 doors. There's the door handle there. That's for the lift gate, headlamp controls, electronic parking brake, pull up to engage, hit the brake, press down to disengage. Hit this twice, that opens the hood. Power tilt telescoping steering wheel. And here's our power driver's seat with 2-way power lumbar support. Now I do want to give a huge thanks to Lincoln and Franklin for allowing me to review this Nautilus today. I'll leave a link below in the description. If you're looking to find the best price on one of these closer to home, click that second link down below. It takes just a minute to fill out your information, and I'll make sure the local dealers are fighting to get you the best price on this or whatever new vehicle you might be interested in. But $64,050 is the sticker price. And I have the seat up front adjusted for someone of my size, being 6'3" with longer legs. So we're gonna take a look at the space back here. So pretty good space. You get 2 USB-C ports on the back of the seats. And yeah, this is actually pretty impressive, I think, for a 2-row SUV. Seat back pockets are there. We get 3-stage heated outboard seats. Rear AC vents are down there. And then you do get a 110-volt 3-prong household plug-in below. And if you look closely, it's kind of shining more because there's plastic underneath the seat here. We do get that ambient lighting that you can see throughout the vehicle and the floorboards. And there's a look at the front from back here. There's the sunroof, that's the shade. This folds down, and then you do have bottle holders there in the middle. LED reading lights throughout, grab handle, and then this hook will hang a collared shirt with no problem. Fuel filler here. And as we come around to the back end, we do get full LED tail lights. Just a quick look underneath. You do get a dual exhaust. And then plenty of space behind the second row. Top tethers are integrated on the back of the seats themselves. And then we do have the release for the seats. So if you want to fold that down for more room to run things through to the front, you can. 12-volt there. And then on either side, you have these hooks that pop out and you can hang up grocery bags or whatever. Now the mats are kind of all back here. This one does come with the all-weather mats. And I can lift this up. And then we do have a tire inflator kit back in there. Now to get this back up, pretty much just pop it back in. And you also have a lever you can hit from here, and that allows you to have a little bit of recline as well. So you just pull that to adjust that. And then your lower anchors are behind this kind of Velcro piece right there on either side. Now, if you're interested in the parts content, there is that 10% US Canadian, 90% Chinese. You can see the assembly point and where the engine and transmission are from. And then our front passenger seat is powered with 2-way power lumbar support there. And there's the glove compartment. There's a little sneak peek at that screen. We'll show that later, but it's that pillar to pillar. I really like that. You have a little storage compartment underneath here where the shifter is. Now, as we come back around to the front, there's that 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine. Before we hop on the driver's side, excuse me, we're gonna show off the blinkers. But hopping in here, nice leather wrap steering wheel. I like the kind of flatter oval shape. There's the horn. Now over here to the radio, we have Google Maps with this Google Assistant system. We have AM, FM, XM radio along with Bluetooth. We also have wireless Apple CarPlay, Android Auto compatibility. We have access to YouTube with the subscription plan for the data and whatnot. So you can do quite a bit on here. Games, there's a lot you can access here from the Play Store. And then here we have our automatic brake hold, the drive modes, the ambient lighting, traction control, the digital scent. We can fool with all that here. And then the widgets, we can adjust that in the display here. So if I want to see fuel economy instead of the clock over there, all I have to do is just hold this here, drag it over there, and now you'll see that the fuel economy is over there instead of the clock and whatnot. So I really like that. It's kind of up in front. You can kind of keep your eye on the weather, the audio, the fuel economy, all of that there. And down here, you can control your HVACs in terms of your fan direction. So the vents here, you can't control with your hands. You actually just use these buttons here. Let's see if you can see that in there. You see I'm moving the vents back and forth. And then as I turn that on, it wanted to turn the cooled seat on, thinking that somebody was over there. But I can adjust all that here. I can press to turn the vent on or off, which is pretty neat. And then they have little shortcuts. So if you want on-body ventilation, there's that, off-body ventilation, so on and so forth. And then fan direction can be chosen right here. Temperature on either side can be adjusted. Fan speed, you can sync the temperatures there. And then you have 3-stage heated cooled seats you can adjust by doing that. And then the heated steering wheel for the driver as well. Backup cameras up here. Guidelines follow you as you turn the steering wheel. You get a bird's eye view as well. And then you also get these kind of top-down views for the corners if you want to use those. And down here, the shifter, park, reverse, neutral, drive. Then you have the low mode. And then down here, automatic stop. You can toggle that off if you want to. Defroster. This button pulls up that front camera. Then you can change the view, whether you want a wide angle or whatever. Hazards here. Push this button, that'll pull up the parking chimes if you want to turn those on or off. And then this goes through the drive modes. So you have a shortcut for that if you don't want to go through the screen there. And then volume, click there to turn the audio off. Wireless charging pad. Bottle holders are here. You get a USB-C, USB-A duo if you want to plug that in directly to the radio. And then you have the center console cubby space that has 2 USB-C ports for charging and a 12-volt. A removable tray in the back as well. And then you can cover all that up too. Now, lights are here. You can vent the sunroof or slide it there. That's for the sunshade. So while that slides back one touch, there's the sunglasses holder. Then I can hit it a second time, goes a little bit further. But there's the back seat from up here. Garage door transmitters here. Hold on one second. Hit the wrong button. And then we have the vanity mirror right here. just gets hot in here, I like to close that sunshade as soon as possible. And you always, in the Fords and Lincolns, you have to hit it twice. It gets on my nerves. But left side stalk, blinkers, high beams, and then we have automatic wipers. So one time off, auto, low, high. We can adjust that auto frequency here. Rear wiper, intermittent on, off, push back for the fluid in the back, pull up for the front fluid. And then these buttons right here, you can see what you're doing on the screen. So as I kind of hover over it, you can see what it's doing there. And then when I press it, I go into the settings further. So I actually, when these first came out, I thought I couldn't get used to it, but once I got used to it, it is so awesome. I think it's one of the best interfaces for your steering wheel controls on the market. Again, it takes some getting used to, but once you get used to it, again, it's one of the easiest things to use. So here I can go adjust volume up, volume down, track list or radio station presets there, and then I can even pause and play the music right there, and then your voice recognition in that bottom corner. And the camera doesn't do it justice. It's a beautiful picture up here. It's just where it's so, I guess, colorful, so well developed. It doesn't do it justice on this camera being able to see these animations here. Push button start is right there. And finally, here's the key fob with remote start. But next, let's go ahead and take this 2026 Lincoln Nautilus Premier 2 out on the road for a test drive. So starting the test drive in this Nautilus, we get all-wheel drive here. It makes for nice pulls coming out of the parking lot there with this 2-liter Turbo 4. This 8-speed, I feel like it does a better job in terms of the overall, just the laying of the power down than in the GMs, in terms of just the shift points not always clunking and being kind of awkward fresh off the delivery truck. So I feel like GM needs to take notes on that. Now I do experience that 8-speed mostly in the Chevy Colorado's GMC Canyons, because I think you get that 9-speed in the Blazer and the Envision. But for the most part, I mean, I really like how this 8-speed, how the gears are ratioed, how it moves in general. Now the ride here is pretty good, very comfortable in the seat here, even though, you know, the space could use, I shouldn't say it could use some work, but I could adjust the seat back more. But still, being closer to the dash, I'm pretty comfortable. So the adjustability of the seat, as you can see, really is what helps with that. And then you still have plenty of space behind the driver in the second row. Now this normal drive mode, it's pretty nice. It has plenty of pep. I feel like you're still able to get mid-20s to low 30s in terms of the fuel economy. But you do have the option to go conserve or excite. So you can see down here that conserve, it's gonna dial you back a little bit. I wouldn't recommend doing that in the city with this kind of vehicle, just because if you have to give it any bit of throttle, it's gonna hold you back quite a bit. And if you're having to do that in the city, you'll probably need quite a bit of acceleration as opposed to trying to pass somebody on a 4-lane interstate. But again, I think the normal mode is very good here. You have the option to do conserve or excite if you want a sportier drive. The excite is pretty hardcore for this kind of engine, but it's fun. Now under throttle, you get a nice blow-off valve sound, which is enjoyable for me. I like the sound of a turbo, but I do think, you know, it's noticeable and it's very quiet. But if that's not your thing, then it might be a bit too much for you. But I think it'll be fine for most people that are in this segment. And even under light throttle, I shouldn't say light throttle, probably medium throttle, the sounds are great, but it's not loud. I think they did such a good job when they made these. These are just incredible SUVs in terms of the sound acoustics on the inside, the technology, the safety features, the overall drivability, having that power when you need it, but also being able to get you great fuel economy when you don't. Not a lot of people can do that, so the Nautilus has checked all those boxes, at least for what I've seen. So it's kind of packed out here right now, but I'm gonna try to give it a little bit of throttle again on the interstate here. Here we go. So that's about all I can give it, but I mean, it's so quiet and it gets up to speed so nicely. To have a turbo 4 in a vehicle, it's impressive how this is not loud. For most people, they would probably be turned off by a turbo 4 because turbo 4s have that reputation. But this is a nice sound you get from this. Now I want to give one more big thanks to Lincoln of Franklin for allowing me to review this Nautilus today. I'll leave a link below in the description. If you're looking to find the best price on one of these closer to home, click that second link down below. It takes just a minute to fill out your information, and I'll make sure the local dealers are fighting to get you the best price on this or whatever new vehicle you might be interested in. Now we do have the adaptive cruise control with the lane centering and very luxurious drive here. I think for the money, this is a solid deal for just a vehicle in general, but specifically for a luxury SUV. This thing feels very expensive. I love the Nautilus in general. And even if you don't go up to the 80K plus black label, you'll still be impressed with this Premier, I think. Having the layout of the pillar-to-pillar screen, having the wireless CarPlay, Android Auto, the sunroof, the heated cooled seats. It's just, it's a nice package here overall. And I think if you're comparing it to Lexus, Mercedes, BMW, even a Genesis, I mean, Lincoln gives you a run for your money with what you get, the amenities, definitely the looks, and it's just a solid package overall in my opinion. But with all that being said, this will bring me to the end of my review of this 2026 Lincoln Nautilus Premier 2.